The Galactic Council chamber was a marvel of engineering, a cathedral of light and sound suspended in orbit around the star of Varith Prime. Its walls shimmered with living holograms of distant worlds, and its vaulted ceiling echoed with the voices of 1,000 alien species. For centuries, this place had been the stage where empires were recognized, dismissed, or crushed. And today, Earth was summoned. When the humans arrived, the laughter began. The aliens did not hide their disdain. Humanity, a young race from a backwater system, had no right to sit among the elder civilizations of the galaxy. The Reshk, reptilian warlords whose fleets numbered in the millions, hissed their amusement. The insectoid Shrall, whose empire spanned 12 spiral arms, clicked their mandibles in mockery. And the crystalline Vaorians, hosts of the council, let their glowing facets ripple in laughter. They send, that, one delegate jeered. One ship? A relic of steel and fire? Truly, the humans must still fight with sticks. The council chamber roared with cruel delight. But at the center of it all, the humans remained calm. Their ambassador, a woman named Elena Kale, stood in silence. Her face was unreadable, but her eyes betrayed nothing of fear. The single vessel representing Earth orbited just outside, waiting. To the aliens, it looked unimpressive, an old battleship hull, armored but plain, with no sign of the biotech, psionic weapons, or singularity drives the rest of the galaxy wielded. It was called the Aegis Prime. The joke becomes a test. The laughter grew sharper when the Reshk warlord slammed his claws against the table. Let us test them, he demanded. One ship against a squadron. If they survive, they may speak. If they die, well, the council will have its entertainment. The chamber agreed with roars, chittering, and crystalline chimes. Ambassador Kale simply bowed her head. Earth accepts. Outside the chamber, in the void of space, the Aegis Prime drifted into position. Facing it, a formation of 30 alien warships glowed with power, hulls of living metal, weapons drawn from the hearts of stars themselves. The odds were absurd. The humans, the council thought, were walking into their own funeral. Inside the Aegis Prime, Captain Darius Holt stood on the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back. His crew was young, untested in galactic wars, but their ship was not ordinary. It was Earth's forgotten experiment, a vessel decades in the making, built in silence while the galaxy mocked humanity's weakness. Status? Holt asked. All systems green, replied the tactical officer. Her voice was steady, but her fingers trembled on the console. Good, Holt said softly. Then let's show them. The uncloaking. The alien fleet opened fire first. Beams of plasma, arcs of antimatter, and torrents of gravity-shearing energy ripped across space. The Aegis Prime vanished in the barrage, swallowed in a blaze that could have torn moons apart. The council chamber erupted in cheers. But then, the fire faded. And the Aegis Prime was still there. Unscathed. A ripple of shock spread through the chamber. The ship shimmered, its hull bending light itself. Slowly, deliberately, its cloaking field disengaged, not revealing fragility, but something entirely new. The Aegis Prime was no mere battleship. Its armor was layered quantum lattice, a skin that rewove itself with every strike. Its cannons hummed with directed singularity charges, experimental weapons designed not to blast but to erase. Its AI, Erebus, processed tactics faster than fleets could blink. And for the first time, the galaxy saw the mask fall. Humanity had never been weak. They had been hiding. Waiting. Return fire, Captain Holt ordered. The turning tide. The Aegis Prime struck like a phantom. Its singularity cannons fired, and an alien cruiser simply ceased to exist, swallowed into a collapsing dot of nothingness. Two more fell in the span of seconds, their shields useless against the unnatural precision of human weapons. The Shrall clicked frantically in the chamber. Impossible. No primitive could. But they could. The alien fleet scrambled, deploying swarm drones, energy nets, and gravitational anchors. None worked. The Aegis Prime bent space around itself, slipping between attacks, reappearing where no calculation predicted. With each volley, another alien ship became debris, or worse, vanished entirely, as if the void had swallowed it whole. Captain Holt watched the battlefield unfold with cold precision. He gave no speeches, no roars of victory. His orders were quiet, efficient. His crew executed them flawlessly. Within minutes, 30 alien ships were gone. The void was silent again, except for the steady heartbeat of the Aegis Prime. The silence after laughter. In the council chamber, no one laughed anymore. The Vaorian host's crystalline body dimmed, its light flickering with fear. The Hreshk warlord had gone silent, claws clenched so tightly they cracked. Even the proud Shrall no longer clicked their mandibles. Humanity had done the unthinkable. One ship, one forgotten experiment, had humbled some of the greatest fleets in the galaxy. Ambassador Kale finally spoke. Her voice was calm, but every word struck like a blade. For centuries, you mocked us. You called us children. Today, you see the truth. Humanity is no one's subject. We do not seek conquest. We seek respect. Her gaze swept across the chamber, meeting every alien eye. Laugh at us again if you dare. The silence was absolute. The resolution. The Aegis Prime returned to its station, unscarred, silent, and terrible in its beauty. Rumors spread instantly across the stars of the human warship that could erase fleets, of Earth's hidden power, of a species that had hidden its teeth until the galaxy grew complacent. Some empires recoiled in fear. Others whispered of alliances. A few began plotting, desperate to uncover humanity's secrets. But one truth was undeniable. The galaxy would never laugh at humanity again. In the quiet of her quarters aboard the Aegis Prime, Ambassador Kale looked out at the stars. Her lips curled into the faintest smile. Humanity had stepped onto the galactic stage, not as jesters, but as players and perhaps, in time, as rulers. For the first time in millennia, the balance of power had shifted. All it took was one ship. The Aegis Prime. And the galaxy would remember. The galaxy had long dismissed humanity. To the elder races, Earth was a curiosity at best, a species that had clawed its way into the stars far too late, with crude ships and noisy weapons. Humanity had colonized a handful of systems on the galactic fringe, but compared to empires spanning thousands of worlds, they were ants pretending to roar. So when the Galactic War Games were announced, a centuries-old tradition where empires tested their fleets in simulated battle, the Council had extended a rare invitation. It was not out of respect. It was mockery. Let the primitives join, the crystalline Vaorians had chimed. Yes, the insectoid Shrall had clicked. Let them see how small they truly are. And so Earth had accepted. The stage of mockery. The War Games arena was no mere simulation. It was a colossal expanse of deep space near the galactic core, seated with ancient satellites and energy beacons that projected holographic battlefields for the Council to observe. Fleets would clash under strict rules, no planet destroyers, no AI uprisings, no mass civilian casualties. The galaxy loved these games. Empires tested new weapons. Admirals won prestige. Audiences spanning trillions watched. And now, for the first time, humanity was on display. The council chamber buzzed with cruel amusement as Earth's fleet appeared on the holoprojections, 20 ships. Old ships. Their hulls were metallic gray, their engines unrefined chemical fusion hybrids. No bioluminescent armor, no psionic cannons, no graceful organic design. Compared to the fleets of the galaxy's great powers, humanity's navy looked like a museum exhibit. They still burn hydrogen, one delegate sneered. Barely spaceworthy, another chuckled. Humanity's opponents in the first match, the Threx Dominion, were delighted. The Threx were masters of intimidation, their ships jagged like claws, bristling with plasma lances and gravity spikes. Their admiral addressed the council with smug arrogance. "This will be swift," he promised. "We will shatter their toys and remind them of their place." The chamber roared with laughter. The first clash. The match began. The Threx fleet surged forward, weapons primed. Energy beams slashed across the void, and the first human destroyer exploded instantly, torn apart before it could fire. The chamber laughed harder. The Threx pressed on. Another human ship fell. Then another. The scoreboards lit with overwhelming Threx superiority. But then, something strange happened. The remaining human ships broke formation, scattering into the void. It looked like panic. The aliens jeered. They flee. But the Aegis Prime, the human flagship, remained still. Its weapons did not fire. Its shields did not flare. It simply waited. And then, the shadows moved. The reveal. From the darkness of space, ships appeared, silent, massive, and cloaked until now. They emerged not from hyperspace, but from hiding. 100 ships. Then 1,000. Then more. They did not bear the crude, exposed hulls of Earth's public fleet. These were different, sleek, angular, covered in adaptive cloaking lattice that bent light itself. Their engines emitted no signature. Their weapons glowed with energies the galaxy had never seen. The wargame sensors screamed in confusion. Council delegates leaned forward in shock. Impossible, their declared fleet strength was 20 ships. Ambassador Kale, representing Earth, simply smiled. Did you truly think we came unprepared? The Shadow Fleet strikes. The Shadow Fleet opened fire. Their weapons were not plasma, not antimatter, not singularity drives. They were hybrid. Energy beams laced with gravitational shear tore through Threx shields as though they were glass. Missiles that bent probability itself found their targets no matter how the enemy maneuvered. Drone swarms, hidden inside cloaking fields, shredded Threx fighters before they could launch. The Threx admiral shouted frantic orders, but it was too late. Ship after ship was annihilated. Whole squadrons vanished under the coordinated precision of the Shadow Fleet. The audience, trillions strung across the galaxy, fell into stunned silence as the so-called primitive humans dismantled one of the galaxy's proudest militaries with ruthless efficiency. Within minutes, the Threx Dominion fleet was gone. Not defeated. Obliterated. The silence of the council. The council chamber was deathly quiet. The Vaorians dimmed their crystalline bodies in unease. The Shral clicked nervously, their mandibles betraying panic. The Vreshk warlords shifted in discomfort. Humanity had not just won. They had revealed the greatest deception in galactic history. For centuries, Earth had hidden its true power. While the galaxy mocked their primitive rockets and chemical drives, humanity had studied. They had stolen alien data, reverse-engineered forgotten relics, and built their own technologies in silence. Every laugh, every insult, had bought them more time. And now, the mask had fallen. The words that echoed. Ambassador Kale rose from her seat. Her voice was calm, but her words cut through the silence like a blade. You saw what we allowed you to see, she said. You saw our old ships. The scraps we left for your eyes. But humanity has always known the truth. To survive among predators, one must not roar too soon. One must learn. Adopt. Prepare. She let the words hang in the air. Every alien I was locked on her. We are not your prey. We are not your jest. We are the shadow in your blind spot, the fleet you never counted, the strike you never predicted. Laugh again if you dare. The chamber remained frozen. Not a single voice rose in reply. Aftermath. The news spread faster than light itself. Across the spiral arms, trillions whispered of the humans' shadow fleet. Whole star systems reeled at the revelation. The so-called primitives had hidden not weakness, but patience. Some empires scrambled to make alliances. Others fortified their borders in fear. A few plotted vengeance, but even they hesitated, because if humanity had revealed a fraction of its hidden strength, who could say how much more lurked unseen? The galaxy had a new equation to solve. No longer was Earth a backwater world of farmers and dreamers. Humanity had stepped into the center of galactic power, cloaked in shadows, armed with secrets, and unafraid to show its teeth. A whisper in the dark. On the bridge of the Erebus, flagship of the Shadow Fleet, Captain Holt stood in silence, watching the stars.
"We've shown them a glimpse," his second-in-command said quietly.
"Yes," Holt replied.
"Just a glimpse. And if they come for us?" Holt's eyes hardened.
"Then they will learn the shadows run deeper than they ever imagined." The stars outside shimmered, and then one by one the Shadow Fleet vanished again into the void, cloaking fields shimmering as they slipped back into silence. The galaxy would never know where they were, or when they would strike again.
But they would know one thing. Humanity was no longer a punchline. Humanity was the shadow.
And the shadow was everywhere. The galaxy had grown accustomed to mocking Earth. Humanity was a latecomer to the stars, their colonies scattered on the edges of civilization. To the great powers, Earth was useful only as a supplier of raw or cheap labor and occasional entertainment.
Alien broadcasters filled their networks with jokes about the monkeys with rockets.
Even the Galactic Council referred to Earth as the junior species. So when the humans dared to resist the latest demand for tribute, the galaxy laughed harder. The Coalition of Nine, a mighty alliance of star empires, sent a fleet of 2,000 ships to Earth's borders, demanding obedience. Humanity's reply shocked them.
"We will negotiate. Send your terms. Our representative will arrive aboard a single vessel." The aliens were delighted. One ship? Against a coalition? The arrogance or desperation was laughable. They didn't know what ship was coming. The Eternal Dawn. The vessel was called the Eternal Dawn.
To the untrained eye, it was beautiful but ordinary, a massive warship with smooth silver armor and faint golden light pulsing along its vanes. It bore no fleet insignia, no escort, no sign of support. But the truth was far stranger.
The Eternal Dawn was not just human engineering.
Decades earlier, deep in the Kuiper Belt, Earth had discovered something buried in ice, an ancient relic, half-broken, belonging to a civilization so old it was considered myth. Humanity had studied it in secret, rebuilt it with their own technology, and forged a hybrid ship unlike anything in the galaxy. And now, it sailed alone into the jaws of the Coalition.
On its bridge, Captain Ilara Miles stood at the viewport, watching the enemy armada loom ahead.
Her crew was silent, tense, but their eyes carried no fear.
The Eternal Dawn was more than a ship, it was a promise.
"Transmit our willingness to negotiate," she ordered.
The message was sent.
The Coalition's reply was cruel laughter. The mockery before the storm. In the Coalition command ship, Admiral Kor of the Hrecht bared his fangs in delight.
One ship.
One fragile toy against the might of 9 empires.
I almost pity them. The chamber of alien commanders erupted with amusement.
The insectoid Shral clicked mockingly, the crystalline Vaorians pulsed with mirth, and the warlike Drakari howled with savage laughter.
"Let them beg," one said. "Let them kneel," another added. Admiral Kor sent his reply. "You stand before the greatest alliance in galactic history. Surrender, and Earth may be spared. Resist, and your people will be ash."
Captain Miles received the transmission.
She stood tall, her voice calm. "Humanity does not kneel. Test us, if you wish." The awakening of the ship.
The Coalition fleet surged forward. 2,000 ships lit the void with plasma storms, singularity bombs, and torrents of antimatter fire.
The Eternal Dawn seemed to vanish beneath the onslaught, engulfed in flames brighter than a star.
The Coalition cheered. The humans were finished. Then the light cleared. And the Eternal Dawn was still there. Its golden veins flared brighter, absorbing the energy, feeding it back into its own systems. The relic within the ship, the ancient core, had awakened.
"Status?"
Captain Miles asked.
"All systems optimal."
"Core synchronization complete," her officer replied in awe.
"Then it's time."
The Eternal Dawn uncloaked, not into a bigger ship, but into something greater. The space around it warped as gravity bent to its will. Shields shimmered not in arcs but in living patterns, adapting to every frequency of attack.
Its weapons glowed with impossible brilliance, a fusion of human engineering and ancient alien design. The galaxy had never seen anything like it.
The battle that changed everything. The eternal dawn struck. Its first salvo was not a barrage but a single beam of golden light. It lanced through space and erased a coalition dreadnought in an instant, not destroying it but unmaking it, as if rewriting the laws of physics around its hull.
The coalition fleet scrambled, unleashing firepower that could level planets.
But the eternal dawn moved like no ship had ever moved, slipping between gravity wells, bending probability, reappearing where no calculation predicted. Human missiles split into dozens of subwarheads, each guided not by computers but by predictive AI that seemed to know the enemy's moves before they made them. Railguns fired slugs at near-light speed, tearing through shields like paper.
Drone swarms poured from hidden bays, cloaked until the moment of strike.
Within minutes, 100 coalition ships were gone.
Then 200. Then 500.
The coalition commanders screamed in disbelief.
Impossible. Admiral Kor roared. This is no human technology.
And he was right.
It was something older. Something greater.
The fear spreads. As the battle raged, the galaxy watched. Every system, every empire, every world tuned into the coalition's live broadcast, expecting to see Earth's humiliation.
Instead, they witnessed a miracle.
One ship, one eternal dawn, dismantling an armada that had ruled through fear for centuries. The laughter that had once filled the galaxy turned to silence. Then to whispers.
Then to fear. If humanity had one ship like this, how many more waited?
The fall of the coalition.
The coalition fought desperately, throwing everything at the eternal dawn.
They deployed experimental weapons, unleashed forbidden singularity storms, even attempted suicide runs.
None succeeded. The eternal dawn's core adapted, learning, evolving with every strike.
Its weapons grew stronger, faster, more precise.
The ship was not merely fighting, it was teaching itself how to win.
Hours later, the battlefield was silent. 2,000 coalition ships had been reduced to wreckage or erased entirely.
The survivors fled in terror, their formations shattered, their confidence broken.
The eternal dawn drifted through the wreckage, unscarred.
Humanity's lone representative had stood against 9 empires and triumphed. The resolution.
In the aftermath, the Galactic Council convened in chaos.
Empires demanded answers.
Spies scoured their records.
How had Earth, the backwater planet, built such a ship? How many more did they have? Ambassador Elena Kale, Earth's representative, faced the chamber.
Her voice was calm, but her words shook the galaxy.
You thought us weak because we let you believe it.
You saw our rockets and called us children. You mocked our ships, our colonies, our struggle.
All the while, we built. We learned. We endured.
She paused, her gaze sweeping the chamber.
And now you have seen one ship. Just one. Remember it well.
The chamber was silent. For the first time in history, no one laughed at humanity.
Epilogue, A New Dawn.
On the bridge of the eternal dawn, Captain Miles watched the stars. Her crew was weary but unbroken. We did it, her first officer whispered. No, Miles corrected softly.
This was only the beginning.
She touched the console, feeling the faint hum of the ancient core beneath her hand.
The ship was alive, in its own way.
And she knew it was only a matter of time before humanity uncovered more relics, more knowledge, more power. The galaxy had wanted to make Earth kneel. Instead, they had awakened something greater. The eternal dawn sailed into the void, its golden light shining brighter than the wreckage it left behind. And from that day forward, every empire, every fleet, every world remembered one truth.
Humanity was no longer the galaxy's joke. Humanity was its new dawn.